Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm here to teach you another mini art lesson. So I have spoken to a few of your teachers and they told me that you'll be learning a lot about animals from all around the world this week. So I thought it would be nice to revisit an artist that we learned about earlier this year named Paul Klee, or some people pronounce his name Paul Klee. You may remember him. He is an artist who was a master of color and geometric shape. He loved bright, beautiful colors. And in our book, it says, "No one saw fish like Paul Klee." Take a look at this beautiful piece of work called Fish Magic. Paul Klee was really unusual and magical in a lot of his artwork. And as you can see here, there are some funny things going on. There's a clock and flowers up here and interesting looking plants right there. And so Paul Klee liked to kind of make things unusual. You might ask yourself, are those fish flying and floating in the night sky around a clock? Or are the flowers flying? Or are the fish underwater and the clock sunk down underwater with them? He had a great imagination, just like you do. And so we're gonna have some fun making our own Paul Klees creatively, however you want. We're going to do a quick mini lesson on how to draw a bird and how to draw a fish. That goes in line with your animal learning this week. And then we will get started on making our own magic. Fish magic, bird magic. If you want to put both fish and birds, that's fine too. And because we are reviewing this artist, I want to just kind of remind you and think back. This was, I think, back in February. We studied his geometric shapes and a lot of his cities. We remember Dream City we looked at, Castle and Sun. And you guys did that technique like Henry Matisse. We cut out shapes and you made your own Paul Klees inspired by his cities. And so this is the same artist, but we're gonna focus on his bird and his fish art today. And I just wanna show you before we get started, I kind of did a little pre-sketch to plan out what we're going to do, but you can, again, make this however you want. We're going to use markers today because Paul Klee was such a master of bright color. So we'll use markers to brighten our drawings. Let's start by doing a quick lesson on how to draw a fish and how to draw a bird. You can draw a fish and a bird with just a few easy shapes that you're already used to. So to draw a fish, I'll do a big one and then we can work in smaller ones in our own. So to draw a fish, you can start with a triangle and then add this sort of oval shape. Paul Klee liked to add this sort of hash marks here in his fish. And if you want to, you can certainly use crayon as well to add in some layering of texture and use kind of mixed media like Paul Klee did. Paul Klee grew up in Switzerland and he grew up in a family of musicians. He studied violin for a really long time, but he decided to be an artist and he just fell in love with color. And he also, I was reading a little bit about him earlier, he also loved the art of children. So he thought that it was so neat how children could look at things and draw from their imagination. So he would really love all of the art that you've done this year. Okay, so there's your little quick fish tutorial. I'm gonna move this down here. Okay. And now we'll do how to draw a bird. So to draw a bird, you can draw a half circle like this. And then you can come up here to kind of draw the bird's head and beak. You can add some plumage or feathers on top of a bird's head. Then you'll draw the tail, and the legs will just be an upside down V, and the feet will also be little upside down V's like that. And then of course you go in and add your own texture and color. Okay, so let's get started on our own Paul Klee work. I was really inspired by his bird garden plants and the plants in Fish Magic. So I'm gonna start by drawing in some of my plant life, and then I'll work in my fish and birds and other. Let me move this. Okay. So you can use these oblong, oval shapes here to get started on your fish. And Paul Klee used these little hash marks, kind of like that, to make his fish stand out. He also put interesting plants. This is one of my most favorite plants that he drew. Kind of looks like palm leaves a little bit. And I'm gonna draw a bigger fish up in this corner. You can also, if you notice the shapes in a fish, if it's easier for you to first draw a triangle and then kind of draw a circle or an oval on the side of it. And then you can add some texture, a mouth, and some eyes. I might add some just cool geometric shapes like a triangle on top of a rectangle on top of a circle that's going to float behind this plant. I also love the birds from Bird Garden, and I know many of you are studying about birds and animal tracks this week, and I have birds, you can hear them right now, that are in my yard. And so let's talk about an easy way you can draw a bird. You can start by just drawing this sort of half circle shape, and then add a little head by drawing almost like another half circle going the other way. And then you can come up here and kind of draw a tail with another kind of triangle. Can you see that? And then add a little bit of detail. And then of course the bird legs are like a triangle that isn't closed all the way, with some little feet. You can add an eye, some extra feathers, and then color it in. You may want to add some cool plants, like in Paul Klee's Bird Garden. You can get some of your greens out, draw some big, interesting leaves. Like that. So my Paul Klee is bird and fish magic. There are birds and fish hanging out in my Paul Klee art. I'm gonna draw some more geometric shapes. Circles and triangles and other circles. might even draw a clock. And then I'll draw another bird over here, maybe even an upside down bird. This bird's upside down. You can also mix up your media if you want to use crayon and marker to color in some of your fish or birds. You can do that. Paul Klee also used different techniques in his artwork. I'm going to do another one of my favorite Paul Klee plants. It's getting windy here and trains are okay, so that's an example of a Paul Klee art that they like.
I would say everybody. Me either.